Hello and good evening. It is Tuesday. I am Allison and we are live with Gotham Quilts. Hello to everyone who is watching live or if you're watching on the replay. And hello, Barbara from Southern California. Welcome. Um, we love to see where you're from. So if you are watching us, whether you're watching us live or on the replay, go ahead and put where you're at in the comments. And I'm going to have one more fun thing for you to put in the comments too. So get ready for that. Today's topic is, I hope you'll find very meaningful to you. I know that all of us out there, whether you are a quilter or a bag maker or a stitcher or a cross stitcher, I know that you have UFOs. You might call them something else. You might call them PhDs. I've heard of projects half done. If you've got anything that's unfinished, any kind of unfinished object, which is where the UFO comes from, and you feel a little bit of guilt every time you walk through your closet or wherever you keep your UFOs, I am here to tell you to feel guilty no more. This is a guilt-free zone. We all have UFOs. We aren't here to judge the pile. We are going to conquer it today. We're launching a fun thing with Gotham. This is the second quarter finish line challenge. Now, the reason there's a lot, New Year's Eve and New Year's Day gets a whole lot of the energy of the I'm going to do something new. I'm going to finish those things. I'm going to whatever you might be doing in January. And I did not come up with this idea. This is from the Instagram of the late and I would say great James Vanderbeek. He is actually the one who kind of brought this to the forefront of spring is a time of new awakenings. Spring is, we've got spring cleaning, we've got the grass is coming up, the all the things are growing, things are starting to get green again. And I don't know about you, but that's kind of given me the bug to just clean out some of the old things. And part of that is guilt around projects that are half done. So we are launching a challenge. It is starting today. So you guys watching live are going to be the first to hear about it. And it's going to go all the way into July. We also have a fabulous rescue bundle to help you out with your projects half done. Our goal is to get you the tools and the inspiration that you need to get those projects off of your shelves and into your beds, in the hands of your loved ones, on your back in the case of a bag, maybe. But right now, before we go any further, I want you to go to the comments. And again, this is whether you are watching live or on the replay. Go to the comments. What I'd like you to answer for me is, no lying, because this is a guilt-free zone, how many unfinished projects are currently living in your closet or your storage space? No need to fudge, but I'd just love to see how many are in your closet. Now, this wouldn't be fair if I didn't share with you some information about my unfinished projects. And it's actually one of the things that I am very good at. I'm very good at starting projects, but I quickly get disinterested or move on to other things. And I'll tell you why in just a second, why that is actually an okay thing, why that's a good thing. So I'm going to go through a couple of my projects and then I'll tie that to some of the things that we've got for you in today's show. So I have just a small stack over to the right here. And one of the important things about unfinished projects and how we can make sure to finish them in the future is to really identify what is it that caused this project to stall out. And so this one is, this was a fun one. Let me take out the pattern so I can show you what this project was. Oh my goodness, this project bag is very aggressive here. But here is the project for this guy. So I've got everything kind of in the bag here. But it was to make, you could make a towel or you could make a pillow sham. I was working on this guy right here. And the reason this stalled out is it has a whole ton of teeny tiny pieces that you can see in there. And I was working on this at a retreat, and it was just too small to work on at the retreat. So I put it back in the bag. I also wanted to starch it just a little bit better because it was made with a woven product. So I wanted to starch it a little bit better. So I threw it in the bag, put it in the closet when I got home, and promptly forgot about it. And that is where it has sat for about a year now. Very cute fabric, very cute pattern. But yeah. Okay, here's another one. This one's a little, just a teeny tiny project. This one is a mini charm pillow that it's got everything I need except for the background, I guess, is in this little bag here. And this is what I was making, is this little pillow here. This was another thing that I got at that same retreat. And this one I put together. Oh, I remember why I stopped working on this one. I cut the pieces, I sewed some of them, I laid them all out in the order that I wanted, and then I got distracted with talking. I was chatting with a friend, and by the time I got back to it, it was time to call it a night. I put it all away, and another one that I promptly forgot about. So this one was at a retreat time, Fellowship 1. I've got an ambulance going by here at the moment here. So, like I say, it's really important to think about why these projects stalled out. Now, sometimes it's that the fabric, well, there's another ambulance going by. Sometimes it's the fabric no longer speaks to you. Sometimes it's maybe the project or pieces about the project are a little bit more than your capabilities at the time, something that you're not quite used to. You need to do a little bit more research, get a little bit more practice. So, we're going to go through some of those items today. So now that I shared with you about my unfinished projects, I don't have the number handy, but looks like 7, lost count. This is actually pretty great here. Only 3 or 4 unfinished. I loved that, Sandra. Now, unstarted, I don't know that we will have to take a poll in the audience how many people call an unstarted project a UFO as opposed to just unstarted. And Gabrielle, I love it. 7. You happen to know exactly how many you are. Barbara, I'm more in your camp of lost count. But the good news is I like to keep all my projects in these little bags like this. So I guess all I have to do is count the bags, huh? In any event. And Barbara, I'm glad it was one of your resolutions. So maybe you can resurrect it with the Gotham challenge here. So with all of that, let me get back to that, and we won't keep you up there too long. But love to see those in the comments. So go ahead and add yours as you are watching the video here. So having multiple unfinished projects might actually be a good thing for you. The reason behind that is because you then have just a different menu of different projects that you've already started that you can go back to when you're in the mood. I didn't bring it here because it's laid out all in a big tray, and just all the pieces would go flying. But I'm working on a foundation paper piecing unicorn with tons of different colors, and it really makes my heart sing, the colors in it. And so having that to go to when I want something fun and colorful and bright and exciting gives me some different options when I'm in the mood for that, versus maybe this guy, and I'll take it out so you can see it. This project, or pull the fabric out, has a lot of grays and silvers, and there's a little bit of metallic gold on there, but it's really very, I don't know that I'd call it low volume necessarily, but it's the same color over and over again. It's going to make a very striking quilt when it's all done. But if I need, and I can take some of the pieces that I was working on here, but when I need something a little colorful or to work on, it's not going to be this guy. But when I need something kind of calming and relaxing, that's when I would work to this. You can also see I'm working on some Dresden pieces for this one. You might be in the mood for something a little more fiddly or a little more straight piecing, get it done, large pieces. So for some quick wins, so you will always have a project for whatever you're looking for at that particular moment. And this is actually going to be kind of a fun trip down memory lane. Some of these bags I have not opened in a couple few years. So that's why having multiple UFOs is actually a good thing. It really only becomes a problem when, if in some of these cases, they just sit in the closet never to be touched again. If you're rotating through a handful of projects, that's good for you. That's good for your fabric and your projects. But like I say, if you've got some of those ones that are just sitting in the closet, never to be seen again, never to see the light of day, hopefully, let's use this challenge as a good excuse to bring those out and to start working on them. Now, there are a couple of things when you have a project that's been sitting for a long period of time. We're talking over a year, but a lot of this could depend on where you are in the country, what kind of um, environment you have in your house or in your sewing room. You might want to do a little bit of forensic digging into your project, just to answer some easy questions to say, is this something that's worth picking up again? And we have for you we've got a blog post that goes along with a download. So I'm going to put the QR code up here. There'll also be a link in the description of the video, if you're watching on YouTube, of our UFO detective log. Now, if you've got some projects that have been sitting around for a while, I highly encourage you to go get this download. It's a free download, and it's just a list of things to look for so that you can bring back these projects. You can continue just where you left off. There's a couple of things to think about. There's going to be more in the download that I'm going to go through now, but some of these need a little bit of explaining. And so that's what I'm going to talk about here. So the first thing is you want to use your senses to make sure that this project and that the pieces of this project are worth picking up. Number one, use your nose. You want to do the sniff test. Sniff your fabric, especially if it's been in a place where there might be some moisture. Smell it. What does it smell like? Does it smell like stored fabric? Does it smell musty? Does it smell like pets or smoke or something that you wouldn't necessarily want to deal with? If you smell it and it smells good, you're fine. No worries. If it doesn't smell good, and you'll know the ones that don't smell good, I promise you. You can do a couple of different things. If it's yardage like this, uncut yardage that's part of your project, consider washing it. Now, I would caution against washing if you've got some yardage and you've got some pieces that are cut and pieces that aren't. You don't want to get into a situation where you've got some of your fabric shrunk and some of your fabric that isn't. So definitely look at your project, see what size pieces you are, and see if any of these suggestions make sense and do what makes sense. If you have a flimsy, we call them sometimes summer weight quilts as well, something that's not quilted, what you can do is you'll definitely want to make sure to have a victory lap around the edges so that none of your seams come apart and that it doesn't fray as much. But you can put that in the dryer on air fluff, no heat, for 15 minutes with a wool dryer ball and maybe a few drops of essential oil or a really good dryer sheet to refresh that top. You could do the same thing with large pieces of yardage. You can also let it air out. What do they say, that sunshine is the best disinfectant? So let it out. Be very careful though, because the sun will fade your fabric, and you don't necessarily want that. You just want enough time in the out of doors to get that bad smell out. Now, if it's really bad, if the smell is really bad or you've got mold in it from being in a damp area, sometimes projects just can't be saved. And so maybe you can take what you can from it and discard the rest. So don't be afraid of getting rid of things that aren't going to be healthy for you to breathe in. Mold is a great one. Pet dander, if you're extremely allergic, is another thing to watch out for too. You just want to make sure that you're doing the right thing for your project and the size pieces that you have. The other thing you wanna do is use your eyes. You want to unfold all of the yardage that you have, especially if it's been around for a while, and you wanna check the folds. Sometimes, depending on how your fabric is sitting, it could become light damaged. We talked about leaving your things out in the sun for too long. You could get some fading right on the edge on a fold like this, and so use your eyes to check all areas of your fabric, both the ones that have been cut and pieced and the ones that haven't. And those fold lines are especially susceptible for fading. Um, if you do find a fade line, especially right on the edge, you can do a couple of different things. You can consider cutting around it. Is it in a place where you'll have enough fabric remaining where you can just cut around those faded pieces? Or is it in an area where that might end up in a seam allowance? For example, if you're talking about a border, for example, you can easily get that so that, or you could probably easily get that in a way where it's oriented in your seam allowance where you won't see it. If it's really subtle, is it something that you just wanna power through and move on with? In a busy, busy fabric like this, where there are some lights and darks, maybe something that I see when the fabric is laid out might be a little bit invisible when I cut it up into smaller pieces or when I quilt over it. So all of this is very subjective. You just have to decide how bad that light damage is and if you can cut around it or just power through and use it. Um, really dense quilting, for example, or a really high quality, beautiful pattern can hide some color inconsistencies. But what you want to do is be really honest with yourself about how much that is going to bother you in your future project. You don't want to spend all of this time to finish up your project and then have your eyes immediately go to that sun damaged area. So you know yourself, just make sure that you are moving forward because this is not only the money that you've invested in the fabric, but it's also your time and time that you're not working on other projects. The next thing you wanna use is, we'll call it your hands. This is the next, sense that you want to use, and that's the texture. I keep reaching for this one because I think it's a great example of a lot of different things, big pieces of yardage, but also the texture. This fabric, before it was put into my project bag, was, I would say, relatively highly starched. It's not the firmest that I've ever seen, but this is on the heavy side of starch. Does it feel limp compared to the pieces that I have already put together? You wanna have about the same amount of the same amount of body in both your finished pieces and your unfinished pieces. So all you have to do if you find that there's a great, disparity between the hand of your pieced pieces and the hand of your uncut, unpieced pieces is just get one to the other. It's easier to add starch than it is to take it away. So just starch up or size up your fabric that feels a little softer to match the current kind. Now, do keep in mind that fabric that has been handled, sewn, pressed, steamed is going to have a little bit of we'll say a softer hand, a looser, less starch feeling. And so, if you want to bring your heavily starched fabric down to the sizing of the ones that you're working with, you can just use steam on this guy. Use a little bit of steam or spritz it with a little bit of water and then press it, and that will help relax some of your fabric just a little bit more. So make sure that you're working with roughly the same amount of feel on your fabric. And then last but not least, the next audit that you want to do, the next inspection that you want to do is look for critters. Especially if you've used like a corn-based starch, you'll definitely wanna look for critters, or let me put it this way, if you've used a corn-based starch and your project has been sitting for a while, definitely look for critters. What and I'm not just talking about active live critters, I'm talking about the evidence that critters have been there. Look at the folds of your fabric. Lay it all out, shake it all out. What you're looking for is little bits and evidence that they've been here. Look for any tiny pinholes that weren't made by your needle, and this is for both yardage and piece together fabric. So if you've got some blocks together or a portion of your quilt top together, open up the whole thing, shake it out, look for tiny pinholes that were not made by a needle. That could be a sign of bugs. You're going to look for into the seams, fold a couple of back and see if there is little bits of debris or frayed edges that look like they might have been chewed rather than worn. You're just looking for evidence of those uninvited guests, those pests, that your project has had a little hitchhiker that you weren't intending on. Now, if you do find evidence of bugs or critters, what you'll want to do is take everything that was in that project bag or in that project bin, put it in a zip top bag, and get that into your freezer. Keep it in your freezer for about 48 hours, and that will kill any lingering hitchhikers, any of those, little bugs or little critters, without damaging your fabric. So 48 hours in the freezer, and you should be good to go. Once it's out of it's being sequestered there, just shake it out outside, and then you should be good to go. Like I mentioned with the sunspots, with the sun aging, if you find holes or chew marks or anything that you can't get over, consider cutting around it if it's yardage. Consider if you can move forward with it in that particular condition. So with those are kind of the things that you want to check your project if it's been in storage for a long time. And all of those are listed on our detective guide. So be sure to download that. I'll get the QR code back up there for the detective guide. So we've got all of the things that I went through, plus a lot more. I'm going to go through some more too, but I wanted to get that back up there for you. Now, another thing that you can I'm so sorry. Another thing that you'll want to look out for, and this is listed on the detective guide, is do you have all of the tools that you need to finish? And that is something we can help you out with too. We've put together a little UFO rescue bundle. And so this UFO rescue bundle, it's all the way over here. It's going to give you a handful of things that you need or could use replenishment on to finish your project. Now, thing number one is needles. What you might want to look at is what kind of needle did you use? Now, you don't necessarily have to match that same needle, but it would help you give you an idea of where to start with. Now, in the UFO rescue bundle, you are going to get a pack of needles, and these are the Microtex. These ones are going to be super sharp. They are going to make the smallest hole possible, and you've got a couple of different sizes here. So you can match the size needle to whatever you were using or whatever is appropriate for your fabric. I guess irrespective of what you were using before. Make sure you use the right needle now, even if past you wasn't using the correct needle size. You are going to get in the UFO Rescue Bundle a pack of our favorite rotary blades. In this pack, you're going to get 2 different blades, and these are by the Famore Company. The reason that we love these so much is that they sharpen your blades. There's information once you get the package. There's information on the website about how to get your blades sharpened, but they will sharpen their own blades, and they'll sharpen other blades for a small fee. You also, and I should have talked about this with the needles, is you will also get the Schmetz Needle Guide. Now, Schmetz is the OG name in needles. They are fabulous. We love all of their needles. But did you know that there are like hundreds of different kinds of needles? And depending on what you're sewing, one might work better for you than the other. So if you're ever struggling, this is a great little resource guide to have. It is, gosh, I think about 50 pages or so, all about needles. We also have a friction marking pen. Now we had, gosh, maybe a few months ago, had a full Gotham Live all on marking pens. And friction ones are great. They erase with the heat of your iron, and they're great for marking like the backs of half square triangles, for example, or a little area of a hem that you need to mark up. So they are great for using that. You just don't want to write a check with them because the ink will disappear if it gets hot. We are also going to include a large spool of Aurifil thread. Now, I was squinting when I grabbed this. So this is not the color that you'll get, but you will be getting the color spearmint, which is kind of a sagey green. The reason we're including the spearmint color, the sagey green color, is because, did you know that sage green is the new gray when it comes to piecing? Sage green, it really crosses that line between warm and cool, and it is the chameleon of the thread world, which is why it's one of our favorite colors to piece with. I promise you, you will not be disappointed with how flexible that sage green spearmint color is, but you'll get a large spool of Aurifil thread with that. And last but not least, you are going to get a package of quilt labels. Now, I think it was maybe 2 or 3 shows ago, we talked all about quilt labeling. I can't think of a better way to put just an exclamation mark on one of your finished quilt tops that you finish for the Gotham Challenge. So you'll get a package of quilt labels. They might not be these exact ones, but they will be a lovely, high quality woven quilt labels to just put your name on your finished project. So all of these items are a retail value of $48.93, and you are going to get them in this UFO rescue bundle just to kick off our our summer of UFOs. This is going to be for $34.50. So a really great deal. You're getting, I think it's like 25 or 30% off of the retail cost of these, just so you can kickstart your UFO challenge here. The other thing I would love to invite you to participate is in our UFO challenge. We are hosting a challenge of our own. And so after the after this show publishes, there will be a sign up form on our website. And what we're going to do is to help encourage you to finish your UFOs, to get out there. We are hosting the Gotham Finish Line Challenge. And so what that means is I have a little graphic here too that I could put up there. So if you are on social media, be sure to use this hashtag Gotham Finish Line. And don't worry, there will be tons of different posts to remind you of this. But we are offering anyone who signs up for the Finish Line Challenge, we are going to, if you finish a UFO by July 1st, so you've got 3 months to do that here. If you finish a UFO, even just one, by July 1st, we are going to send you a Gotham I Finished sticker. That's all there is to it. There'll be a sign-up page on our website. There'll be the link in the description of this video for you to get to, or you can just go to gothamquilts.com after this video goes live to sign up for the challenge. Sign up for the challenge. You want to be sure to register for our newsletter. It's how we send you the reminders and the final I Finished link in July. Sign up for that challenge. And in July, if you have finished at least one UFO, we're going to mail you a Gotham I Finished sticker. So be on the lookout for that link and pick out which UFO you're going to finish to win your challenge. I think it'll be a great way to celebrate. And in July, if you care to send us a picture of your UFO, we're going to have a special live show on July 2nd to show all of the finished UFOs that were collected and finished over the summer between now and July 1st. So a great way to have fun with that. There'll be a lot more information in the description of this video. Let's answer. Oh, okay. Sandra said just just answered that question. I'm a little bit behind on the comments here, so thank you for your understanding. And Sandra calls the unstarted ones USOs, which I kind of like that. USOs. They're their own thing, aren't they? At any event, so that is what we've got going on. Please be sure to use that hashtag Gotham Finish Line, whether you are in the comments here or you are on social media. We want to see how much this trends and how many UFOs we can get finished by July. So I know that there are at least two that I definitely want to finish in the next couple of months. How many do you want to finish? So let's move on to the housekeeping items really very quickly. Tomorrow is our thread talk with the fabulous Bianca Springer. I just can't stop looking at her quilt. It's titled "It Ain't What They Call You, It's What You Answer To," and it was made with laser quilting. So she's going to talk to us about the future of quilting, which is lasers. And then we last week announced our log cabin virtual retreat. The early bird discount goes through June 1st. So you've got a little bit more time to sign up for that. It is going to be a fabulous retreat. We are already finding speakers. So that was such a popular addition to our last retreat that I'm very excited for what we're going to bring. But it's actually just a fun retreat to get together, hang out with people, and learn a little bit more about log cabin. And it will up your piecing game. It'll just be a fun event. So that's the log cabin virtual retreat. That is October 2nd through the 4th. October 2nd through the 4th is that log cabin retreat. And then it is the final day to save on furniture. If you have your eye on those Aero ergonomic chairs, which are just fabulous for your back and support, or any of the furniture, the larger cabinets, the more premium cabinets do come with a free kiwi, which is fantastic. Um, it's a little fantastic little sidekick to your furniture. That sale ends today. So at midnight tonight, that sale will turn into a pumpkin. So if you've had your eye on any of that, the furniture, a great thing to check out, to scope out your sewing room and upgrade. Get ready for that challenge to finish all those UFOs. You'll need a good chair to do it. So just click that QR code and you will get to the furniture section. So with that, we, I believe, are done. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'm going to get that QR code for the detective log. If you are excited about finishing your UFOs, do scan that. That'll bring you to the blog post that will get you a free download of our UFO detective log. All the things that you want to consider when you are picking up projects that you haven't picked up in a while. I went through a couple of the things, but there's so much more on that download than I can talk through in half an hour. Great questions that you want to ask yourself about how to proceed to finish those UFOs. So I really hope to see you on the Gotham Challenge. Let's see here. We'll get rid of that guy. I really hope to see you in the Gotham finish line to work on those UFOs and finish those up. And I will see you next Tuesday, same bat time, same bat channel. That is every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. We go live with Gotham Quilts. So I really hope to see you then, if not before. And I really hope before.